In the first of several social media child safety trials, a New Mexico jury found Meta guilty of violating state consumer protection law. Jurors agreed with allegations that the platform fails to protect children who use the app from sexual predators. Meanwhile, a jury deliberates for a 9th day in a separate social media trial in Los Angeles. The attorney representing those plaintiffs detailed the differences between the landmark trials.
Under the New Mexico statutes that say you can't do certain things that violate the Consumer Protection Act of New Mexico. And he argued that the sexual exploitation on Meta and on their platforms was one that violated New Mexico's statute. Ours is different not only in who the plaintiff is, we have an individual, but the root of ours is social media addiction. And that's very different than the sexploitation that's happening on the platforms.
All right, let's bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson. Good to see you today, Jessica. So why do you think the New Mexico case prevailed in its case, and what are the implications in that win?
So I think the jury found, as they said, that Meta engaged in, they thought it was unconscionable, unfair practices. As we just heard, that was based on a separate set of laws. That was based on New Mexico state law dealing with unfair practices and sexual exploitation of people who use Meta's platform. I think that, honestly, what they heard was a lot of testimony indicating that Meta could have known, should have known, and should have taken steps to stop what was happening. I think something similar could happen in the Los Angeles case, but again, as we just heard, very different laws that are at issue in these two cases.
And speaking of the Los Angeles case, still no verdict in the LA social media addiction trial. Does that signal a possible deadlock in the case?
So what the jury indicated pretty late yesterday is that they were having trouble reaching a decision on at least one of the defendants. In that case, we're talking about both Instagram and YouTube that are defendants. If I had to guess, I think that they're struggling with what YouTube is. Is it a social media platform like Instagram? Is it more like a newsletter? They're arguing we're more like Netflix. We just put content out there. We should also note that for the Los Angeles case, this is one of the first in the nation, if not the first in the nation, cases to test this theory that Meta, that Google, that they can be on the hook for addiction. And again, that's under a theory that the design of these platforms is essentially inherently dangerous. And I think the jury's going to have a lot of questions about what causes addiction, what causes mental health problems. And the jury just doesn't have any roadmap because there aren't any other cases that have been brought to trial on that theory.
Do you see this playing out for much longer? Because it's been several days now and still no decision.
So apparently it was last night, the jury said to the judge, we're having a really hard time finding a decision on, again, one of the defendants. I'm guessing that it's YouTube. And the judge said what judges say, which is, why don't you go back and try again? Because if you can't reach a decision, we're going to have to retry this all over again. And that's a big use of resources, not just for the attorneys, but obviously for the court and a new set of jurors as well.
Wow. Okay. We'll see how it plays out. Jessica Levinson, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.